The tracks are now fully fixed with the new guide strips on and glued and screwed into place, and brand new coats, 3 coats of Cetol have gone on these. They're all good to go. The only thing we're lacking now is to do the rest of these, which were sanded out. I wanted to sand them out ahead of time and do one last. These already have 3 coats of Cetol on them. Okay, so basically they're going to just get one last dress coat of brand new Cetol on them before they go back on the boat, and that'll be it. That's all they need for the summer, for the upcoming season, maybe a couple of seasons. So anyway, we're done. Glad the tracks are all fixed. I did go ahead and use a bedding on these, or well, not a bedding, what do you want to call it? Some sort of caulking on these so that it fills the gap down in behind there where the track had worn away. Well, now that's all completely filled, and the new track guides are on this so that when these tracks slide back, they're going to be sliding back absolutely perfect. All right, that's it on the tracks. Now, yesterday, I went ahead and did the initial paint of the primer on the hatch covers themselves. Let me get these out here and I'll show you. This is what it looks like after they were all masked off. I went ahead and taped off the tracks themselves, or the flanges that come out the side. These are the sections that go in the track, because I don't want to paint those. I may actually end up doing a little bit of beefing up on those with some fiberglass before these go back on. But in the meantime, I took these. You can see the photograph in here of what these look like before and after. This is a brand new, fresh, very full coat of primer. This is Rust-Oleum primer, and I use that because it has a degree of waterproof. Although, keep in mind, these are on the inside of the cabin. Basically, everything you're seeing here is facing down into the cabin. It's not like it's outboard and subjected to the waves and so forth. But right here, you can see that's where that notch was right there. And that's all completely repaired, and it's this it's the smoothest spot on the entire piece of work here. So anyway, these will get after I get a last coat of satin on these today. A white satin is going to be going on both fore and aft hatch covers. Then after that, there's one last thing that's got to be done, and that's that these get turned over and sanded completely. This is where the scraping was going on because of the hatch track right there. But anyway, these got completely sanded out and a brand new fresh coat of exterior deck paint. Not grip stuff at all, but exterior grip paint, exterior deck paint gloss will be going on these, and that will put these finished and ready to go back on the boat. All that's going to be done before we head down to the Cape. And by the way, you'll see right here, I don't know if you can see that, that's where I did that repair. And boy, that's nice and smooth and perfect. It's just really good. So anyway, once that's painted over with the deck paint like everything else, actually, you know what? I need to prime that today. I'll mask that off and prime that first. And that way I'll prime it, sand it, and maybe a couple of coats of primer, and then go ahead and put the deck paint on afterward. But this is actually covered partially when the other part of the hatch goes up against it. So anyway, focus. There we go. Okay. I'm glad I flipped this over. I'm going to do that this morning. I'll go ahead and hit that with a little primer, and good to go. That'll be that's an important thing. I'm glad we did this. All right, done for now. I'll catch you up as we get more work done. Well, guys, this will brighten up the inside of the cabin. Everything has been primed and painted, and just after I finished putting a coat of satin on both the aft, this is the forward hatch, this is the aft hatch, this is the one you open right here. But anyway, just after I got done getting everything painted up very thoroughly, I looked at this, and this is the satin paint that I'm putting on here is both primer and paint. So it's actually like double primered and painted. And yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to look so much nicer. Yeah, when you see the picture that I'm going to be putting in this video of how these hatches used to look, boy, what a difference. Definitely worth all the effort. And with the change up as far as taking care of that notch, which is right there. I don't know if you can see the nice smooth area. That's where the notch was. That is now completely fiberglassed over. And anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. Going to be really great going back aboard Little Girl. Back on the painting of my hatch covers. This is the forward hatch cover. And I decided this time not to use the roller, just to use a fairly good quality paintbrush that I bought over at Home Depot. And I'll tell you right now, because of how I applied it, man, it came out almost perfect. I mean, there are very few bubbles or flaws in this one. When I did get a little glitch of old paint show up, a little piece of it, I just took my pocket knife and scraped it away, and then used my fine brush to just go ahead and very gently stroke it. All the strokes, by the way, were in one direction. I don't know back and forth. It all went from this side to this side, and I mean, by the time I got done, yeah, I wished I'd done this to my forward on my aft hatch. Wow. I am just almost ecstatic with how this one came out. And what this means is I'm going to sand the other one. I hate to do it. I've got enough paint, but I am not going to go back to the roller. I'm going to sand out the other one gently, especially right on top, because that's where all the boo-boos were. And once it's sanded out, I'll clean it down a little bit and just completely repaint it. And using a brush, only a brush. The reason for this, by the way, I not only apply it with a brush, I tip it at the same time. After it's on, I get a fairly smooth coat, and then I tip it. Just very, very gently stroke it like it's just satin, you know. And oh man, what a difference! What a difference! No more with a roller. With these old hatches. I'm just going to use that. Very cool. Okay, so what I'm doing, guys, I have sanded this down. This is with my aft hatch, the one that I came up with all bubbles and stuff on it. And I sanded it down to the point where I'm not feeling any more of the bumps or flaws in it. And you can pretty much tell when you I'm using 180 grit because I want a good tooth for the new paint to lay down in. But anyway, I think this is ready. Okay, I'm going to shut this off and spray it down and clean it, and then we'll get started on the painting. I'll turn this back on when we get ready. Okay, we're ready to go. This paint is all stirred up, so it should be good to go. I'm going to start over here in this corner. Like I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, I'm not going back and forth. I'm going just one direction. And by the time I get paint all the way from one side to the other, I'm gonna be doing long sweeping strokes for the entire length of the top here. mentioned, I probably, you can see a couple little flecks of old paint in here, and I'm probably going to just stop here in a minute and just flick those out with my pocket knife. I got it. Okay, so I'm going to start on the next track. I'm buying new paint. I'm gonna do this again. And I'll get this buy for this season, but this can, when I get done with this paint job, this is it. This is get thrown away. Now, anytime when you get the paint, when you take a paint out of the can with your paintbrush, you get little flecks of old dried paint coming up. It's time to chuck the can. That's a bad one. Okay, that one right there. Okay, look at that. Alright, well, I'm probably going to shut this off. But you get the idea, guys. This is very carefully just whisking it along all one direction. And already this is coming out like the forward part of the hatch, just perfectly smooth. I'm going to just be careful to catch any of those little paint fragments and get them out of off the surface. By the way, I think this is one of the good parts about using a paintbrush. You know, a roller, you're back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, you're doing it in pattern. You're trying to make good use of your paint distribution-wise. But I'll tell you what, if you're not careful, you can be leaving behind little boo-boos that you are gonna regret later. That's a ghost there. Dutchman, if they want to call it that. By the way, set up to where you've got a light at one end of your paint so that you can get it down at the other end and look all the way up the surface and see where your boo-boos are. I mean, you can see it in the reflection. Now there's a mistake right there. Another one. Piece of old paint. All right, guys, you get the idea. This so far, I see maybe one or two tiny pieces, which I'm going to go back and get. But you get the idea. I mean, boy, when you're careful and you're laying it down, using a brush and tipping it at the same time, it can come up really pretty. All right, I'll show you this when I'm done. Well, thank goodness they're all done. It was worth every bit of the effort I put into these. This is going to really not only improve the looks, but it needed it. The paint that was on there was in really rugged shape. I mean, there was paint I put on, but that paint's been on there 3 or 4 years, and it was really looking raggedy. It had a lot of spruce sap that had gone on top of it and had to be cleaned. It was just a mess. So, nice fresh paint. And the beauty is that little notch is long gone. And yeah, it's going to be great. Looking forward to getting these back aboard Little Girl. Also all done and ready to go back aboard are my tracks with the new guide strips in place, and making it so that the hatches won't be sliding down into the badly worn areas that were in the tracks. That's not going to happen again, not with the way that these guide strips have been installed. So we're all good on this, and obviously, you know, getting it all done, that meant that I definitely went ahead and did a fresh coat of Cetal over the whole of them, just to get them looking really properly nice to go back aboard Little Girl. So this whole assembly is ready to go. I'm so glad. You know, some people might think, why are you doing that, Randy? I mean, after all, I mean, she looks fine. And, you know, look, as far as I'm concerned, the restoration is not complete until all this work is done to where you don't have to do it anymore, at least for the moment. You know, the repair is made, and she's looking great, and this is going to be great to go back aboard Little Girl, and it's going to look really nice. All right, thanks. Guys, we're going to call it quits for this episode. I don't know if it's going to be short or long. The point is, I'm all done with that entire project. I got some other stuff to show you, but we'll wait till we get down to the Cape. Finally, I don't know if you could tell from all the videos that have come out, but a whole lot of work went into making the repairs on the tracks, reconditioning, repainting, the hatch covers. A lot of work. But good news is it's done, and it's going back aboard Little Girl, and I only have to worry about the hatches dragging on each other, and yeah, it's gonna be really nice. It's gonna be looking better, and more than anything, just working better as you know, as the tracks are going to work perfectly now. So, all right, guys. Hey, thanks for stopping by Restoring Little Girl, and we'll catch you guys next time around. Next time it's going to be on the Cape.